of Nazi propaganda photographer Walter Genevine and Lights Camera Factory owner Ernst Lights.
And I am Louisa. I'll be playing the roles of Kurt Rosenberg, a Jewish apprentice of the Lights Camera Factory, Holocaust survivor Peter Feigl, and Mendel Grossman, a Jewish photographer in the wood together.
Still images have a moving impact.
Photography in the Holocaust.
Lights, camera, action. The development of the Leica 35mm camera by Oscar Barnack of the Lights Camera Factory changed the art of photography when Lights introduced it to the world at the Leipzig Spring Fair in 1925.
When I developed this 35mm phenomenon, my goal was to have a lightweight camera that did not need a flash, tripod, came with a variety of clear lenses, also coming equipped with a roll of small format films.
Oscar Barnack loved to hike. Unfortunately, he had asthma. Carrying a large format camera such as the Speed Graphic was much too difficult to accomplish. Therefore, the Leica 35mm camera came to life. You could photograph anything from anywhere with this new innovation.
It enabled artists such as Jewish photographer Mendel Grossman and Nazi propaganda photographer Walter Genevine to shoot candid and high-quality photos. The photographs produced by these cameras impacted people from diverse backgrounds in many ways. The 35mm camera offered versatility that changed not only the ease of photography, but the quality.
For the first time, people were able to view candid shots. This was the beginning of the type and style of photography that captured life in an exact moment. No delays, no post shots. Come with us on a journey that highlights the underlying impact this innovation had on a critical time in world history.
Sometimes an innovation is much more than it seems at first glance. So is the story of the Leica 35mm camera. Leica being derived from the two words lights and camera.
Although the camera was precise, minimalist, and utterly efficient, the real innovation behind this new technology was in large part due to the humanitarian efforts of Ernst Lights, owner of Lights Camera and Optical Company.
I sure hope my father is right, asking Mr. Lights for help. He is responsible for the creation of the most famous photographic products ever invented. And instead of basking in the glory, he is saving Jewish people like me. Mr. Lights, may I have a word with you a few moments in private?
Why, certainly, Kurt. As the sign above my door reads, enter without knocking. What can I help you with?
Mr. Lights, my father brought me here because he knew you would help me. He heard you were saving many of the young Jews and giving them opportunities. I must get out of Germany. I am afraid for my life. Can you help me?
Well, Kurt, you are a fine young apprentice, but I must tell you, this business of getting Jews out of the country is very risky and extremely complex. Each time I do this, I put myself, my family, and this company in great danger. But I know in my heart that I must do this. As you know, I am not subject to the Nuremberg laws of the fourth generation German. And as a prominent business owner, I have some freedom to move my employees as their services are needed in our offices abroad.
Anything that you can do to help me would be most appreciated.
First and foremost, you must promise to never speak a word of this arrangement to anyone. This is a matter of life and death for my family.
I give you my word.
We will begin the paperwork tomorrow. I will send a request for your visa to be issued, and I will help you purchase the ticket for the boat. You will also leave the country with a life in hand, since the laws prohibit you from leaving Germany with cash. One final note, you will also be sent with a letter of introduction to take with you to the Leica showroom in New York. They will find work for you there. This is what I can do. The rest is up to you.
It is with mixed emotions that I ask for your help. My father will leave Germany. He is proud, too proud to leave. My brothers are too young to leave on their own. It is my hope that someday you will help them the way you have agreed to help me. You have taught me a trade, and you are willing to risk your life in order to save mine. However will I repay you?
I do not wish to receive praise for the work that I am doing. I simply wish to save the lives of those that I can. This may never be spoken. Not in my lifetime and not in my family's. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
In 1938, Kurt arrived from the United States. As promised, he was given work at the Leica showroom in New York, and then in San Francisco. Ironically, Kurt went on to be inducted into the United States Army in April of 1943. 1 year later, he died aboard the USS Paul Hamilton in the Mediterranean Sea. In the early 40s during the war, Jewish people feared for their lives. Many of them were sent to concentration camps, and some were deported. Peter Feigl, a 13-year-old Austrian boy, was baptized as a Catholic in the Holocaust in hopes to protect him. But to the Nazis, he was still Jewish.
I was fortunate to be taken in by a group of American Quakers and Catholics residing in the village of Chambeau. These groups defied Nazi law in order to protect Jewish children like me. In May of 1944, village people assisted me and a group of young children in preparing for our escape across the border into Belgium. Part of this process was the falsification of important documents that we would need in order to cross over.
Bonjour, my name is Louisa, and I will be a photographer for some very important documents today, young Peter. Will you please remove your chapeau for me?
Yes, monsieur.
En trois. Ready? Un, deux, trois. I will make several copies of these photos for you to trade with your friends in the village. This will allow you to remember them, and they to remember you.
Thank you, Monsieur Louis. I know I will be leaving the village of Chambeau soon, but with the photos you have provided me, and the photos you have provided them, I will always cherish them close to my heart. Peter and 8 other children made it safely across the border into Belgium in 1944 with the help of important documents that were made possible by the 35mm camera.
Let us now go to Poland. In 1940, when the witch ghetto was created, to 1944, when the liquidation occurred in the concentration camp, one heroic young artist refused to surrender to the suffering around him. At great risk to himself, Mendel Grossman secretly took thousands of photographs. His days were spent preparing ID cards for the Jewish community under the direction of the Nazi Party. His evenings were spent in secrecy, developing images of Jewish shame. To fool the police, he kept his camera under his coat. He kept his hands in his pockets, which were cut open inside, and thus he could manipulate the camera.
The year is 1941. The isolation of the Jews was completed a year ago, and I sat inside that ghetto with 164,000 trapped souls. My job here was to take pictures of Jews for their ID cards. My life in the ghetto ended up being so much more than that. Through the years, I captured the despair of my people. At times, I would hesitate before taking these degrading pictures. But once a person implored me to photograph them,
let it be made for the future. Let others know how humiliated we were. 4 years later. Mendel, what is this?
Ari, you are my closest friend and I trust you with my life. If I have ever asked you to do something before, this is definitely the most important. My health is poor. Help me hide this film. I have to find a way to leave the world a testimony of the great tragedy in a language understood by all nations. I felt that a single image plucked from the chaos of history can move us to understanding no lessons in compassion. I did this through photographs. The liberation is upon us and we only have a short time left. In those cans are a collection of secret photographs that I have taken during my time here at Witch. This was possible because of a hole in my jacket where I was able to hide my secret camera. I'm so sorry, officer, I didn't mean to.
Never mind, Jew!
The innovation of recording one's legacy in secrecy is only one aspect of the impact photography had on the Holocaust. On the other side of the pendulum, photographers, such as Walter Gemmelin, showed a much different side of life in the woods ghetto.
I confiscated that camera from a Jew as they were entering the camp. I will never know a name for that face. That camera never left my side for the remainder of my time with the Nazi Party. I photographed mostly economic activity in the woods ghetto. However, I would also capture the activity of Nazi officials every now and then. I always made sure that when I was photographing a Jew, I labeled strong characteristics. I wanted the stereotypical image of a Jew to be portrayed through my lens. My photographs were taken in color, which was rare for that time period. Whenever color photographs were seen in Woods, people knew that I was the one responsible. I quickly gained respect as a photographer. I didn't do it because it was required, and I'm sure if it was required, I wouldn't have enjoyed it nearly as much as I did. Jewish people are as worthless as the ground that I walk on.
At the end of the war, after visiting a concentration camp with a group of U.S. soldiers, General Eisenhower was quoted as saying to a group of photographers,
I made the visit deliberately in order to be in a position to give first-hand evidence if ever in the future there developed a tendency to change these allegations merely to propaganda.
Eisenhower ordered many military photographers, such as Margaret Burkwell, to take as many photos as possible during the liberation to help document the Holocaust for the entire world to see.
The innovation of the Leica 35mm camera played many roles in the Holocaust. Ernst Leitz found a way to further his humanitarian efforts through the use of photography. Mendel Grossman captured the atrocities of his people through the lens of a camera so that they would never be forgotten.
And yet photographers, such as Walter Genevine, took photos to help feed the Nazi propaganda machine. Different people told different stories.